Rin's fingers danced across the tablet's surface. Her eyes narrowed in concentration as she manipulated the virtual world around her. The once vibrant landscape morphed and shifted, shadows lengthening as the simulated sun dipped below the horizon. She had spent years perfecting this environment, crafting every detail to her liking: the towering skyscrapers, the winding streets, the lush parks. It was her own personal sanctuary, a refuge from the harsh realities of the world beyond. At 17 years old, Rin had never known life outside of this digital realm. Her father had created this simulation for her when she was just a child, programming it to respond to her every whim. With a mere flick of her fingers, she could conjure up anything her heart desired: exotic animals, fantastical creatures, even entire cities. It was a world of her own making, a place where she could escape the looming threat that had consumed the real world. Rin sighed, leaning back against the plush cushions of her favorite chair. The simulation was running smoothly, the virtual citizens going about their business without a care in the world. She allowed herself a small smile, taking comfort in the illusion of normalcy. Suddenly, a flicker of movement caught her eye. Rin's brow furrowed as she leaned forward, her fingers flying across the tablet's surface. The scene before her shifted, and she found herself transported to a familiar setting, the bustling streets of Tokyo, where she had spent the first 10 years of her life. As she watched, a series of news reports flashed across the screen, each one more dire than the last. Rin's heart raced as she witnessed the unfolding disaster, a massive, moon-sized object hurtling towards Earth, its impact imminent. She saw the panic and chaos that gripped the city, people fleeing in terror as the impending doom drew ever closer. And then, there was her father, Shigeru. Rin watched in awe as her father worked tirelessly to build the single-passenger spacecraft. His brow was furrowed in deep concentration, his hands moving with a practiced precision that belied the gravity of the situation. Rin had never seen him so determined, so focused, as he meticulously crafted the life support systems that would ensure her survival. Shigeru had always been a loving and attentive father. He would wake Rin up every morning with a warm breakfast, carefully preparing her favorite foods and making sure she had everything she needed to start the day. On weekends, he would take her to the park, pushing her on the swings and chasing her around the playground, their laughter echoing through the crisp, clean air. In the evenings, Shigeru would sit with Rin, brushing her long, silky hair and telling her stories of faraway lands and fantastical creatures. He had a way of making even the most mundane tasks feel special, infusing them with a sense of wonder and magic that Rin had always cherished. But now, as Rin watched her father work, she could see the weight of the world on his shoulders. The determination in his eyes was tinged with a deep, abiding sorrow, a realization that the life they had built together was about to come to a devastating end. Rin's breath caught in her throat as she realized the truth. Her father had sent her away, programmed her to live in this simulated world, all to ensure her survival. The knowledge of his sacrifice, the fact that she would never see him again, threatened to overwhelm her. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she witnessed the final moments. Her father's loving gaze as he connected her to the simulation, his lips forming the words, "I love you," before the spacecraft launched, carrying her away from the doomed planet. Rin could feel the anguish radiating from her father, the pain of having to let her go, of knowing that he would never again hold her in his arms or hear her laughter. But in that moment, she also saw the unwavering resolve in his eyes, the determination to ensure her survival, no matter the cost. As the spacecraft hurtled into the unknown, Rin pressed her hand against the glass, her heart breaking as she watched her father fade into the distance. She knew that she would carry the weight of his sacrifice with her for the rest of her days, a constant reminder of the love that had driven him to such extraordinary lengths. Time seemed to slow as Rin's world crumbled around her. She was alone, adrift in the vastness of the cosmos, her physical body trapped in a coma on the spacecraft, while her consciousness remained trapped in the simulation her father had created. Rin curled up on the chair, her fingers trembling as she tried to process the overwhelming emotions that threatened to consume her. She had always known that her world was not real, that it was a carefully crafted illusion. But the truth was far more devastating than she could have imagined. Her father, the one person she had ever truly loved, had sacrificed everything to ensure her survival, even at the cost of his own life. As the days turned into weeks, Rin found herself sinking deeper into a pit of despair. The virtual world, once a source of comfort and joy, now felt like a suffocating prison. She would wander the simulated streets, her once vibrant steps now heavy and listless, as she tried in vain to lose herself in the lives of the virtual citizens. But no matter how hard she tried, Rin could not escape the overwhelming weight of her own isolation. The silence that permeated her digital sanctuary was deafening, a constant reminder of the life she had lost. She longed for the sound of her father's voice, the warmth of his embrace, the gentle touch of his hand as he brushed her hair. In her darkest moments, Rin would curl up in the corner of her virtual home, clutching the tablet to her chest as she wept bitter, anguished tears. The memories of her past life, the laughter, the love, the simple joys she had once taken for granted, now felt like a cruel taunt, a fleeting glimpse of a happiness that had been stolen from her. Rin's physical body, trapped in a coma on the drifting spacecraft, slowly succumbed to the ravages of time and isolation. The life support systems that her father had so meticulously crafted were slowly failing, and Rin knew that her time was running out. But even as her body weakened, her mind remained trapped in the virtual world, a prisoner of her own making. The endless expanse of space that stretched out before her in the simulation was a constant reminder of her isolation, a vast and unforgiving void that mirrored the emptiness in her heart. Rin would stand at the edge of her digital world, her gaze fixed on the distant stars, and wonder if she would ever find the strength to let go. With a heavy heart, Rin would raise the tablet one last time, her fingers tracing the familiar patterns that had once brought her such joy. But this time, the virtual world did not respond, the simulation flickering and fading as her grip on reality slipped away. Rin closed her eyes, a bittersweet smile playing on her lips as she whispered a final farewell to the world her father had created for her.